The car hit the railing so hard the windshield burst like gunfire. Ethan tasted blood, smoke, and river water all at once. And before the car could flip into the black flood below, Mia shoved him out and screamed his name like losing it would kill her faster than the crash. The last thing Ethan saw before the car vanished over the bridge was Mia's hand slamming against the glass from the inside. Then the explosion lit the river red. 7 years later, he heard her laugh in a room full of strangers. Not a similar laugh. Not a memory playing tricks. Hers. He froze halfway through the hallway of St. Gabriel's care home, one hand still on the paperwork he'd come to sign, while the piano music drifted through the open doors like it had been waiting for him. Inside, old men in wheelchairs were clapping off-beat, 2 nurses were trying not to cry, and a woman in a navy sweater sat at an upright piano with her hair tucked behind one ear. Ethan stopped breathing. Same profile. Same scar near the temple, pale and thin. Same small habit of pressing her thumb against the edge of the keys before she started singing. Mia. Except when she looked up at him, her face showed absolutely nothing. No shock, no recognition, no pain, just polite confusion. "You're blocking the doorway," she said gently. Her voice hit him harder than the crash. One of the board members beside him frowned. "Mr. Vale?" Ethan didn't answer. The woman stood, smoothing her sweater. "Can I help you?" He stared at her like the dead had just asked him for directions. "Your name," he said, too fast, too rough. "What's your name?" The room went quiet. A few of the residents turned their heads. She hesitated. "Anna. Anna Hart." No. No, that was wrong. Mia Bennett had loved thunderstorms and cheap diner coffee and writing song lyrics on receipts. Mia Bennett had once told him she could always tell when he was lying because his jaw tightened before his words did. Mia Bennett had died in a river because she saved his life. And yet this woman had her eyes, the exact shade of impossible. "Mr. Vale," the board member whispered, "we do need your signature. The redevelopment team is waiting." That word landed like poison. Redevelopment. He looked past Anna through the windows at the old building, the peeling paint, the cracked garden wall, the place his company planned to demolish in 6 weeks. Then he looked back at her. She was watching him now, the way people watch storms, careful, alert, already bracing. Ethan folded the paperwork. "I'm not signing today." The board member blinked. "What?" "I said not today." He walked out before anyone could stop him, but not before hearing Anna's voice behind him, low and uncertain. "Do I know him?" That night, Ethan sat in his dark penthouse with the city glittering below like nothing in the world had ever been ruined. Across from him, Celeste swirled wine in a crystal glass and studied his face. "You look like you saw a ghost." He gave a laugh with no humor in it. "Maybe I did." Celeste leaned forward, beautiful, controlled, never rattled. That was what the magazines loved about her. "This is about the care home?" "No." "Then what is it?" He should have told her nothing. He should have gone to bed. He should have done 100 reasonable things. Instead, he said, "Mia was there." Celeste's fingers stilled. For a second, actual irritation flashed through the calm polish. "Ethan." "I saw her." "No, you saw someone who reminded you of her." "She has the scar." Celeste put her glass down. "Mia died 7 years ago." Ethan's jaw tightened. Celeste noticed. She always noticed. Then she stood and crossed the room slowly, like she was approaching a wounded animal. "You've been under pressure. The merger, your mother, the board. And that place is full of vulnerable people. If there's a woman who resembles Mia, of course it shook you. He looked at her and felt suddenly exhausted. Because Celeste wasn't cruel. That would have been easier. She was practical, and practical people could justify almost anything. I need to go back, he said. Her eyes hardened just a fraction. To the care home? Yes. To her? He said nothing. That was answer enough. The next afternoon, Ethan returned to St. Gabriel with no board members, no lawyers, no tie. Anna was in the garden kneeling in dirt, helping an old man plant marigolds in a cracked cement bed. She looked up when his shadow crossed over them. For 1 second, sunlight hit her face exactly the way it used to. Something twisted low in his chest. The old man grinned at Ethan. "You the rich villain?" Anna sighed. "Mr. Alvarez, you can't say that to visitors." "Why not? He looks expensive." To Ethan's surprise, he almost smiled. Anna rose, brushing dirt off her hands. "What are you doing here?" "I wanted to apologize for yesterday." She crossed her arms. "For barging in and interrogating me like a detective?" "Yes." A beat. "Fine," she said. "Apology accepted." "That easy?" "No, but Mrs. Doyle says holding grudges causes wrinkles." Despite himself, he laughed. The sound startled both of them. Anna noticed it first. Whatever wall she'd thrown up shifted just slightly. He stayed for 15 minutes, then 30, then 2 hours. He learned Mrs. Doyle flirted with every male nurse under 60. He learned Mr. Alvarez cheated at checkers and blamed arthritis. He learned Anna ran music therapy, organized medication charts when the staff was short, and somehow remembered every resident's favorite song. He also learned she hated pity. When he offered to donate new wheelchairs, she looked him dead in the eye and said, "Donate because they need them, not because you feel guilty standing here." That hit too close. "Who says I feel guilty?" he asked. She held his gaze. "Your face." That night he couldn't sleep. By dawn, he was back again. Then again the day after that. He told himself it was about the property, about understanding what demolition would destroy. But it stopped being a lie the moment Anna laughed at something stupid he said near the piano, and he felt a part of himself wake up that he'd buried with Mia. It scared him how familiar it was. It scared him more that it felt new. A week later, she caught him staring at the old scar near her temple. "You do that a lot," she said. "Sorry. You keep looking at me like you're listening to a song only you can hear." The words sat between them. He swallowed. "You said your name is Anna Hart." "It is." "You always had that name?" She went still. Then she turned back to the piano and pressed one note, soft and lonely. "No," she said. Ethan didn't move. She kept her eyes on the keys. "I woke up in a hospital 7 years ago with a concussion, a scar, and no memory of who I was. No family came. No one claimed me. The hospital social worker gave me a temporary name until the state finished the paperwork." Anna stayed. His chest tightened so hard it hurt. "You remember nothing?" "Flashes," she shrugged, but it wasn't casual. "Rain, headlights, a feeling like I was running late for something important my whole life." "And that doesn't bother you?" She gave him a small, crooked smile that nearly destroyed him. "It bothers me every single day. I just got tired of letting people hear that part." He sat beside her on the bench, not touching, not daring. "Do you ever want to know?" he asked. She looked down at her hands. Sometimes. A pause. Sometimes I'm terrified to know. Why? What if the person I was isn't someone I'd like? Ethan's voice broke before he could stop it. She was. Anna turned toward him slowly. The silence that followed was so intimate it felt dangerous. Then she whispered, "Who do you think I am?" He should have told her. He should have said, "Your name is Mia, and you loved me, and you died in every way except the one that left your body breathing." Instead, he stood. Coward. "I don't know yet," he lied. She watched him leave with wounded confusion in her eyes, and for the first time since the bridge, Ethan hated himself in the present as much as he hated his past. The truth found him 3 days later. Anna was helping Mrs. Doyle fix a broken necklace clasp when the chain snapped and a ring slid into her palm. Gold. Worn. Engraved inside with the faintest letters, M plus E. Ethan went cold. Anna frowned at it. "This old thing was in the box of personal items I got from the hospital. I don't know why I keep it." His hands were shaking when he took the ring. He had bought it in a pawn shop with the last cash in his wallet because Mia once said real love didn't need polished glass and violin music, just courage. He had been 28 and arrogant and stupid and completely certain of her. Now the room tilted. "Where exactly were you treated?" he asked. Anna took the ring back, unsettled by his face. "St. Matthew's, then a rehab center in West Haven, I think." "Why?" But Ethan was already moving. By evening, he was sitting across from a retired nurse named Bernadette Cross in a cramped apartment that smelled like peppermint and old paper. She recognized Mia's photo instantly. Then she recognized Ethan. And the guilt in her face said everything before her mouth did. "Oh God," she whispered. "They told me you knew." "Who told you?" She started crying. Not loud, not pretty, the kind of crying people do when they've spent years trying not to. "Your mother came to the hospital," Bernadette said. "The young woman was conscious for only a few minutes at a time. No memory, severe trauma. No identification except that ring, and even that had been bent by the fire. We ran what we could, but your mother said—" Her voice cracked. "She said the woman had no one. She said your family would handle matters privately." Ethan felt his heartbeat in his teeth. "Handle what?" "She told the attending physician you were unstable, blaming yourself, drinking, threatening to confess to the police." Bernadette looked at him with wet eyes. "She said if that girl reappeared with no memory, the press would tear everything apart. She said it would destroy your life." Destroy. That word again. "What did she do?" Ethan asked. Bernadette looked sick. "She moved the girl, changed the paperwork, said if memory returned, she'd contact you. She never did." "No." The room went silent except for a wall clock ticking like a judge. Ethan stood so abruptly the chair scraped back. "There's more," Bernadette said. He stopped. Her voice went quiet. "The night of the crash, the police report was altered. There was no mechanical failure." She swallowed hard. "You were over the limit." His eyes closed. There it was. The part of himself he never outran. He remembered the rain, the fight with Mia, her begging him to pull over, his pride, the whiskey on his breath, the headlights too close, the scream. He had spent 7 years mourning her, and every day of it had been built on the fact that he was the reason she needed saving at all. When he got to his mother's estate, he didn't knock. Vivian Vale was in the sunroom reading financial reports as if she hadn't stolen 7 years from 2 people. She looked up once. "You seem upset." Where was she? Vivian didn't blink. "I don't know what you mean." Don't. His voice was low now, which made it worse. Where was she? A long pause. Then Vivian closed the folder. I did what was necessary. He laughed. It sounded broken. Necessary? You were going to confess. I should have. You were grieving and reckless. That girl. Say her name. Vivian's eyes sharpened. Mia. He swallowed hard. She was from nowhere, Vivian said. No connections, no protection. And you were ready to throw away everything for her. Your future, this family, the company your father built. She saved my life. And ruined it, Vivian snapped. Because after her, you stopped being manageable. Ethan stared at his own mother and understood something final. She had never believed love was sacred, only leverage. You buried a living woman, he said. Vivian stood. I gave her care, a roof, treatment. You erased her. I protected you. He stepped closer. No, you protected our name. For the first time, Vivian's voice turned cold enough to show its bones. Be careful, Ethan. If you dig this back up, your drunk driving will come with it. He nodded slowly, tears burning his eyes. Good. That answer genuinely shook her. He left before she could recover. When Ethan found Anna that night, she was alone in the music room, staring at the ring in her palm like it had started whispering. I know who you are, he said. She looked up, and suddenly he hated every word he had to say, because no sentence on earth could hand back the 7 years stolen from her. Your name is Mia Bennett. The color drained from her face. He kept going because stopping would have been another lie. You were with me the night of the bridge accident. We were together. His throat tightened. We were in love. Anna took one step back. No. I have photos, videos, people who knew you. No. You saved my life. Stop. Tears filled her eyes, immediate and furious. Stop saying it like you're giving me a gift. He fell silent. Her breathing broke. Do you have any idea what it feels like to have a stranger walk in and tell you your entire life belongs to somebody else? You are not a stranger to me. That's the problem. The words echoed off the piano. She pressed a hand to her temple, wincing. I don't know you. I don't know her. I don't know if I should be relieved or horrified. Ethan reached for her, then stopped himself. I'm sorry. She laughed through tears. You keep saying that like it can still reach the right place. The next day he brought proof. Old photos, a diner receipt with her handwriting, a voicemail he'd saved for 7 years and never once played because it hurt too much. In it, Mia was laughing. If you're ignoring me on purpose, Ethan Vale, I hope your coffee tastes like regret. Also, I found the worst apartment in the city and I love it. Come see it tonight. And don't wear those terrible expensive shoes because the stairs look like they hate rich people. Anna listened with her hand over her mouth. Then she watched a video of herself sitting on the hood of Ethan's old car, wind in her hair, looking at him like he was the only man on earth. When it ended, she sat there very still. She loved you, Anna whispered. She did. Her eyes never left the blank screen. I wish I knew what that felt like. That sentence cut deeper than any accusation could have, because there she was, alive, breathing, and still impossibly far away. I'm sorry, Ethan said again, softer this time, knowing how pathetic it sounded. Anna stood. "Please stop apologizing for a past I can't remember and a future I didn't ask for." Then she looked at him, devastated and angry and tired. "I'm not her right now." "I know." "No." Her voice shook. "You don't. Because when you look at me, you keep hoping the woman you lost will step out of my skin and give you back what died." He had no defense. That was exactly what he'd been afraid of. She left him standing there with the box of memories open on the table between them like a wound.
A week later, the city tabloids got the story. Not all of it. Just enough to destroy someone fragile. Heir obsesses over amnesiac caretaker who looks like dead lover. By noon, camera crews were outside St. Gabriel. By evening, one of the residents had a panic attack from the noise. Ethan stormed into Celeste's office before security could announce him. She didn't look guilty. She looked offended. "You leaked it," he said. Celeste closed her laptop. "I contained it." "You humiliated her." "I protected you." He laughed bitterly. That line again. Celeste's mask slipped. "Do you have any idea what you're doing? The board thinks you've lost your mind. Investors are calling me, not you, because apparently I'm the last adult left in the room." "She is Mia." "And if she is?" Celeste stood. "She doesn't remember you. But you'd still burn your life down for her?" "Yes." That answer hit like a slap. Celeste's eyes went glassy, though her voice stayed level. "I spent 3 years beside a man whose heart was buried underwater with another woman. I told myself time would fix it. Then she walked back in and proved I was just renting space in a house built for someone else." Ethan looked at her and felt something like shame. Because she deserved honesty long before this moment. "I'm sorry." She smiled without warmth. "At least you're consistent." He ended the engagement that afternoon. His mother answered by accelerating demolition orders on St. Gabriel. The board set a vote for 48 hours. Either Ethan signed, or they would remove him as acting CEO. That night, rain started again. The same cold, punishing kind. Anna was packing records in the administration office when he found her. "They're moving the residents," she said without looking up. "Some of them can't handle transfers. Mrs. Doyle hasn't slept. Mr. Alvarez thinks he's being abandoned." "We can stop it." She gave him a tired look. "With what? More apologies?" "No. With the truth." That made her pause. Ethan stepped closer, rain dripping from his coat onto the floor. "My mother hid what happened to you. She buried the records. She altered the case. And the accident," he swallowed, "the accident was my fault." Anna went still. He forced himself not to look away. "I'd been drinking. You told me to pull over. I didn't. If you hate me for that, you should. If you never want to see me again, I'll accept it. But I won't let them destroy this place to bury it one more time." For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, "Why tell me now?" "Because, if I lose everything telling the truth, I want at least one thing in my life to stop being built on lies." Her eyes filled, but this time the pain in them was different. Not confusion, recognition of damage. "You were the reason," she whispered. "Yes. The man I died for was the man who put me there." He nodded once. Every part of him expected her to slap him, to scream, to tell him he deserved every sleepless night he'd ever had. Instead, she stepped back like she couldn't trust her knees, and the quiet in the room became more brutal than rage. Then, the fire alarm went off. Not a drill. Real. Sharp. Violent. Immediate. Smoke started pushing under the archive room door at the end of the hall. Someone shouted downstairs. Anna's head snapped up. "Mrs. Doyle!" She ran before Ethan could stop her. The corridor was already clouding with black smoke by the time they reached the west wing. Sprinklers burst overhead. Residents were crying. Nurses were trying to move wheelchairs through chaos. "Get them outside!" Anna shouted. Ethan lifted Mr. Alvarez with one arm, shoved open the stairwell with the other, then came back in for more. The fire was spreading too fast. Too precise. Not accident fast. Somebody had lit this place on purpose. When he got back to the music room, Anna was crouched beside Mrs. Doyle, who had collapsed near the piano, coughing violently. "The hallway's blocked!" Anna cried. Flames crawled up the curtains. The old piano crackled in the heat. Ethan pulled off his coat, wrapped it around Mrs. Doyle's shoulders, and smashed the side window with a metal stand. Glass exploded outward. Rain and cold air rushed in. "Take her first," Anna said. "No." "Ethan." "We all go." He lifted Mrs. Doyle, got her through the window to paramedics below, then turned back. The room was almost white with smoke now. He could barely see Anna. Then she looked at him through the haze, and something in her face changed. Not fear. Memory. Her hand flew to her mouth. The rain. The headlights. The bridge. His blood on her fingers. Vivian's voice in a hospital room saying, "No family has come. You must be confused, sweetheart. The man you keep asking for has moved on." Anna stumbled backward like she'd been struck. "Mia?" Ethan said, panicked now. "Mia, look at me." Tears cut through the soot on her face. "I remember," she choked out. His entire body went still. Then the ceiling groaned overhead. Ethan lunged, dragging her as burning plaster crashed where she'd been standing a second earlier. They hit the floor hard. He got her up, half carrying her toward the window. Below them, people were screaming. Sirens were everywhere. At the ledge, she turned back to him with shaking hands. "You came back for me," she said. And it wasn't just about the fire. Always. He helped her onto the ladder the firefighters had raised, but before he followed, a beam collapsed behind him, knocking him sideways. He hit the floor, and for one terrible second, did not get up. "Ethan!" Mia screamed. The firefighters dragged her down as she fought them, sobbing his name the way she had on the bridge. And there it was, the full circle.
The nightmare returning, with a different ending still not guaranteed. Seconds later, that felt like a lifetime, Ethan emerged from the smoke with two firefighters hauling him forward. Alive. Mia broke free and ran to him. He was coughing, bleeding from the eyebrow, half dazed. But when he saw her, he smiled like a man seeing morning after a war. Then she hit his chest with both fists. "You idiot," she sobbed. "You absolute impossible idiot." He pulled her into him. Rain poured over both of them. All around, cameras flashed, residents cried, firefighters shouted. But for a moment, the whole world narrowed to her trembling against his body, and the fact that she was finally calling him from inside the life they had lost. The investigation moved fast after that, too fast for Vivian to contain. A maintenance worker admitted a man had entered the archive wing that night using one of the old executive access cards. Bernadette came forward. So did a former driver from the Vale estate, who had spent years hating himself for keeping quiet. Within days, the story exploded. Not the tabloid version, the real one. The cover-up, the altered records, the intimidation, the fire. And then, Ethan did the one thing no one in his world believed he would ever do. He stood in front of every camera in the city and told the truth about the crash. No lawyers softening it, no PR teams spinning it, no mother speaking for him. "I was drunk," he said into the swarm of microphones. "A woman I loved saved my life from a disaster I caused, and while I mourned her, powerful people erased her. I can't ask forgiveness for that. I can only stop hiding from it." The clip went everywhere. Some people called it brave, some called it too late. Some called him exactly what he had been. But for the first time in 7 years, Ethan could breathe without lying. Vivian was arrested 3 days later. When she passed him in the courthouse hall, she didn't look broken. She looked furious. "You threw away your life," she hissed. Ethan looked at the woman who had taught him power mattered more than love, and finally felt nothing like fear. "No," he said, "you just can't recognize a life unless you can control it." Months passed. St. Gabriel stayed open through emergency funding and public pressure. Volunteers came. Donations poured in. The piano was repaired by a retired carpenter who insisted music should never die because of rich people with torches. Mia remembered some things in fragments. The apartment with the hateful stairs. The diner coffee. The night Ethan proposed with a ring she mocked for being imperfect and loved anyway. But not everything came back. Some memories stayed blurred, like windows after rain. At first, that scared her. Then, slowly, it didn't. Because she started to understand something strange and painful and beautiful. Memory was not the only way to know a person. Sometimes truth was. Sometimes choice was. One evening, as sunset turned the garden gold, she found Ethan rebuilding the marigold bed Mr. Alvarez kept ruining on purpose. His suit was gone these days. So was the armor. He looked up, dirt on his hands, softer around the eyes. Like remorse had stopped being a performance and become a practice. "You're planting them too close together," she said. He smiled. "There she is." She came closer. He stood slowly, like he still wasn't sure what he was allowed to hope for. "I found something," she said, holding out the old diner receipt from the memory box. On the back, in faded ink, were words she had once scribbled in a rush. "If I ever lose my way, remind me who I laugh with." Ethan stared at it, throat tight. "I don't remember writing that," Mia said. "But I know it's mine." He looked at her carefully. "Are you okay?" She nodded, then shook her head, then laughed at herself through sudden tears. "I don't know. Some days I miss a life I can't fully touch. Some days I'm angry all over again. Some days I look at you and it hurts. And some days..." She stepped closer. "Some days it doesn't feel like remembering at all." His voice dropped. "What does it feel like?" "Like falling." The air between them changed, not because the past had returned perfectly, not because pain had vanished, but because after everything, after the bridge, the lies, the fire, the truth. They were standing there with nothing left to hide behind. Ethan reached up slowly and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The same gesture, the same tremble in his fingers. Different man, different woman, same gravity. "If you tell me to wait," he whispered, "I will wait." Mia searched his face, the face of the man she had loved, the man who had broken her life, the man who had burned his own world down rather than keep stealing from hers. Then she took his hand and placed it against her heartbeat. "You already did," she said. When he kissed her, it wasn't desperate. It wasn't about reclaiming something dead. It was quiet, careful, earned. And somehow, that made it hit harder. Because 7 years earlier, she had loved him before he deserved it. This time, she was choosing him after he finally learned how. The residents inside started clapping from the windows like they'd been spying for sport. Mrs. Doyle shouted, "About time!" Mia laughed into Ethan's shoulder. He held her like he had learned the cost of letting go. And when the sky darkened and the garden lights came on one by one, she looked up at him and smiled through tears he kissed away before they fell. "Funny thing about losing everything," she whispered. "Sometimes when love comes back, it comes back honest."